Listen, at this point, I know that every Biafran or every lover of truth understands that Nigeria is not designed for truth and justice. And I believe that everybody have come to understand what Nigeria is meant for. Yesterday, the 20th of November, was a clear verdict on the stance of Nigeria. At the same time, it was a referendum on truth and lies. And you can see that that referendum has proven to the whole world what Nigeria represents. And in this video, I'm going to give you evidences of what is happening all over the world and what is being said about this whole matter. But before I go into that, I want you to know this. It is important, please. I want you to watch this from beginning to the end. Watch this video from the beginning to the end, because I'm going to say so many sensitive things that you need to hear. And at the same time, share it on all your social media platforms so that other people can hear the facts about this. No normal person would observe and watch what happened yesterday, travesty of justice yesterday against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If you are a Biafran and you still are okay living your life normally now, waking up in the morning, all you do is wake up in the morning, dress your children to school, go to work and all of that, all you do is in the office you discuss the matter, and then that's all. If you are not ashamed of yourself, then you should know that something is critically wrong with you. For what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu yesterday, if you think that it is not you that is the target and you think it's all about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then something is very, very wrong with you. Because, and if you are still there promoting the narrative of Nigeria as a Biafran or as anybody in the world that truly loves truth and justice, then that means you are not sincere to yourself. Now, first of all, I want to express my displeasure and pain against the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, Awomolo Sam. Honestly, I am disappointed. This is a man that I have gone to his office several times at SciTech, Gwarimpa. This is a man that was presiding over our matter with the government. This is a man, in fact, let me not go there about the presiding of our matter. This is a man that I have sat with several times. And when he talks, I fell in love with him because he was so much against, this was just Buhari's regime. He was so much against injustice, talking against the evil going on. We talk about so many things, we look at different angles of this whole thing. And I could see him talking. He was the former Attorney General of Osun State. And I was wondering, if the former Attorney General of Osun State is so dedicated to justice and wants fairness in the system, then it simply means that even in the terrain of the government, we still have people there who can still stand and fight for truth and justice. That was my mindset. I was so in love with him that whenever I go to his office, I feel very comfortable and relaxed. I throw up any issue, he talks about it, he gives his counsel, he was so much angered by the situation in the contraption called Nigeria. And he was against the activities of the government of Buhari. I didn't know that every government official or those who work for the government are just playing the Takia project. You can imagine that Awomolo. Let me tell you something. I was so much in love with him that I took some Nollywood veterans like late Ben Iroha, the veteran, Ayo, the Nollywood police. I took them and some others to his office for courtesy visit. Then we had a project to run. I was so much, passionate about Awomolo that I had to talk to him, write him a letter. He became the patron of my organization. And that was when, along the line, when we had a project, I took these veterans from Nollywood to his office to pay him courtesy visit. We talked about so many things that day. And I saw him as a true man who is dedicated to justice, fairness, and good conscience. But at the moment Nigeria government engaged him against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I began to feel very pained and sad about it. But I was just looking at it. Let's see how it goes. And you know what? People say that as a lawyer, you can stand for anybody. Yes, I believe you can stand for anybody. But you cannot stand for injustice. As a lawyer, you don't have the right. You don't have the excuse, the alibi to say you are standing for injustice because you are a lawyer. No, it is unacceptable. Knowing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a man being fought against by the system from that same Buhari regime that Awomolo was talking against, that same Buhari regime, captured, kidnapped, extraordinarily renditioned, and brutally tortured and brought in and then arraigned unjustly, unconstitutionally, on charges, frivolous charges, getting the whole transform and transmitter, you saw microphone transmitter underwears, and making broadcast on radio, and you now have the infantry. When I heard Awomolo and his team talking about death penalty, I knew that we are in trouble.
With all sense of humility, I say, sir, as a prosecutor, that this court has no discretion in that regard, and that the only sentence that your lordship will impose for counts 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 is death sentence. This court has the power to do so, and with respect must do so. The language of the act is clear, and the court is urged to apply it strictly without deviation.
We are in trouble. First, I'm going to play some videos to you today. But before I do that, please, if you are a Biafran, if you are a lover of freedom, if you are from the Igbo tribe especially, and you don't see what has happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as a sign of the danger that you are in, then you are out of your mind. You are already doomed for destruction. If you are observant and smart, Igbos will claim to be smart, yet we see how depraved and deprived our people are mentally. Some of our people are very terrible in reasoning. You are seeing all these signs. Gumi will come out to say rubbish. The politicians, all of them doing their brouhaha and all their shenanigans online. You see their influencers saying so many things online. You have subjected yourself to the place or the point where Fulani now can manipulate you, and you call yourself an Igbo man. Fulani is making you believe that Nigeria is working and it's going to work all we are together, and you don't have sense. In spite of the killings and the brutality and the things you see, obvious facts proving that we are not part of this contraption. You see the obvious facts. The setup of Ebu Bago, forget the name, it was a jihad militia organized against our people. Did you know how many organs were harvested? How many of our youths have gotten missing because of that Ebu Bago? Some of you don't understand the Takia program. It is a deceptive concept. Takia means deception. It is allowed in Islam. You use it to put the enemies, or the ones they call infidels, people who are not Muslims. You put them in a situation of, confusion where they don't suspect, and then you take them on. Why would any reasonable Biafran allow a Fulani outsmart you, for God's sake? You are telling me that you don't know from the inception of Nigeria that something is wrong here, that you don't belong in it, that the British could hand over a whole contraption, governance of a contraption as complex as Nigeria, to the tribe that is less educated, less reasonable, and violent, coming from the Osman Dan Fodio lineage and mantra, to take over the whole place that is covered by Nigeria, to the sea, dip the Quran into the sea, That means at Iguacha end, you dip it to the sea. At Lagos end, you dip it to the sea. To even further beyond Benin Republic and down. That means they want to take over the whole of the Sahel or the whole of West Africa and beyond, as they have been conquering Sudan and other places. And you are a Biafran, and you are supporting one Nigeria from the point of the inception of Nigeria. It is obvious that they don't want you. They brought people who are marauders, people who are herdsmen to lead you, gave them the mantra of power, gave them the authority to control you, your resources, and everything that you own. Until today, they determine the power narrative. And you call yourself a Biafran. When I see people like this Ijele and Ikenga, and in fact, now I'm beginning to get very angry with these people. You mean that you could go against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to embrace the killers of Biafra people? What excuse do you have? What is the excuse? That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu offended you or he did one wrong, and you now want him dead? You want those who are going to kill him to be the people who have been killing our people, and you now can work for the people who are created by the British or set up by the British to suppress true freedom and justice. So you are telling me now that our freedom, the freedom of the entire people of Biafra or the Biafra nation, or the freedom of people trapped in the contraption of Nigeria, both the Juguns, both the Buaris, both the Ijaw, the Bagi, the different tribes, Tiv and all that, trapped, being killed, being brutally annihilated, genocidal in nature. Everything being done against them is genocidal. You think that the best thing you can do is to embrace the British proxy team designed to eliminate indigenous people because you have a problem with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now let me tell you people what you don't know about yesterday's jumbled and jungle justice. That nonsense that happened in that court. It is a verdict. It is the climax of the knowledge you should have and know that it is time we take our destinies in our hands. If you don't know that now. It is now. You have to know that unless you are dull and you are not smart, unless something is wrong with you, watch these videos, listen to them.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a clear example. In 2022, Nigeria's Court of Appeal struck down the charges against him and ordered his release. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has also called for his unconditional release. Yet he remains in solitary confinement, in deteriorating health, and recently had to represent himself in court. Nigeria has signaled that the law is optional and targeting Christians is fair game. Just hours ago this morning, despite the pleas and cries of the Nigerian people and many Nigerian lawmakers, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on all charges. For fiscal year 2025, the U.S. has requested nearly $8 billion for sub-Saharan Africa. But when Americans see political prisoners, judicial defiance, and the slaughter of Christians, they understandably ask as they meet their own struggles, why should our tax dollars support governments that refuse to protect their own people? Is our aid aiding a genocide? Nigeria is a nation of tremendous potential, but that potential is being choked out by violent persecution of its Christian population. No country can build a stable future where churches are burned, believers are killed, and communities live in fear.
But particularly, the United States is concerned and outraged by the ongoing slaughter of thousands of Christians in Nigeria by various ethnic militias in the Middle Belt, as well as terrorists like Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa in the north. It is tragic, and it is unacceptable. Churches are burning, villages are being razed, thousands are killed, clergy murdered simply for wearing a cross, for being a Christian, for daring to say they worship Jesus as Christ. Just yesterday, 25 little girls were kidnapped from their school, and one school official murdered trying to protect them, from MAGA Comprehensive Girls Secondary School in Kebbi State. Colleagues, this is happening. It's undeniable, and it's unacceptable. The United States condemns these attacks in the strongest terms, and it demands accountability. And as President Trump has made clear, we will not stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria. The government of Nigeria must take immediate steps and do more to increase security, respond to early warnings, end impunity, and address the drivers of violence.
When 200 people were murdered, killed in a church. Now, I want to ask this. So, one question was, did things improve? I think the answer is no on that. Here's the question. Proportionally, do we see Christians killing Muslims in Christian areas of Nigeria the way that we are seeing radicalized Islamists killing Christians in Muslim areas of Nigeria?
What I can tell you, Representative Huizenga, is that Christians are disproportionately targeted based on their population.
Exactly. And by the way, for those that you can't pick up with the microphones, there's audible yeses behind you. Again, the people that are watching who are nodding their heads. Why? Because they have lived this. Their families have lived this. I went to school with kids from Nigeria. I've got neighbors who've been missionaries there, who have family there, who have friends there, who know this is going on. Yet we've got not just the mass media, we got people within Congress denying that this is happening, or certainly de-emphasizing it. It ought to be outrageous that it is Christians, moderate Muslims, anyone being terrorized by these radicalized Islamists in Nigeria, and we've got the Tinubu government sitting back and not doing enough. And I recently just was interviewed by Nigerian television, Arise TV, and that was really their question. Is the Tinubu government doing enough? And I had to answer, no, they are not. And I do not understand how a delegation can come here to the United States and downplay and come up with all of these other excuses as to why this is allowed to happen. It should be rejected and should be called out for what it is. And I've got a couple of other questions that my time has expired that I'm going to have to go and ask for them in written responses. But one of them I need to highlight is in Benue State, there's 1.4 million people who are considered internally displaced. Understanding that the administration has supported refugee assistance in dozens of other countries since taking office, what humanitarian assistance support are you providing or plan to provide to the IDPs in Benue and Taraba states, where many of those Christian communities reside? And I'll have to take the answer in writing. And Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, just to show the breadth of this, I want to submit for the record remarks from the chairman of the Financial Services Committee, French Hill from Arkansas, who also serves on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Intel Committee. And I serve as vice chair of the Committee of Financial Services. This is where many of those sanctions originate and the enforcement. And I will say this, sanctions are only as good as your willingness to enforce them. And as the chairman has pointed out, there are ways to get out of those sanctions. And that's through correct your behavior. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit the letter. Thank you. And with that, I yield back.
Chair.
I don't know whatever evidence you are looking for, especially as an Igbo man and a Biafran. I don't know what else you want. what else you need to know, and what other spiritual voice you want to hear to make you understand that we are messed up and we are taken for granted. It's an embarrassment. What has happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an embarrassment on you, directly to your face. Someone forces you into a marriage that you didn't plan for, and then they keep you there, and then you are being abused, and then you want to leave. They tell you cannot leave, and the people who are telling you cannot leave are people who are less in thinking than you, less smarter than you, people who are not up to your. If you come to any level, for God's sake, how can you compare Fulanis to the Igbo nation? How can you come? How do you want to compare? Let's be frank, for God's sake. And some of you are busy chasing clouds. What you are busy doing is Yorubas are being used against us, blah blah. You are being used against yourself. You are stupid. Because if you stand your ground, we are there. These politicians are playing us for their business, as stupid as they are. All these governors, all these Igbo politicians, and all these people who are in Biafra land say they're governors, and all of them in the political sphere. We are busy watching them rubbish us. They will come and campaign. Look at how Soludo has talked against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, done things against him. Yet we have Igbo people going to vote. You think that you can vote in Nigeria and be normal? When you cast a vote, you are already endorsing Nigeria, for God's sake. Why can't you guys abandon things? Why can't you guys be principled? What is wrong with Biafrans? You call people, stop allowing yourselves to be defrauded by people who don't mean well, who are coming to collect your monies every weekend in the name of fundraising for Biafra. You talk to them, they think you just want to fight them. You just hate it. They will not think. What is wrong with us? You now show them, this is it. These things you need to do to get yourselves free, to get yourself out of the power and the grip of the Fulanis. Yes, we know Britain is behind them, but there are actions we are going to take that can crumble Nigeria. Don't need to carry. It's not about taking AK-47 on the streets, for God's sake. Now, it's not about that. Oh my God, I'm so pained this morning. Since yesterday, yes, we expected this shenanigan. We expected this kind of judgment. But the pain is that we Biafrans, I have looked on social media, several responses. You know, I saw there's one Fulani man, many of them not even one, anyways, one in government that I know. It's always comment. The other time I read 2 days ago, he was talking on social media. He calls Mazi Nnamdi Kanu terrorists. And our people will go there and respond to him. And then he now said, 2 days ago, I saw him talking about, now we are getting ourselves more divided. I don't know where the unity, where we have ever been united. I don't know whether Biafrans don't reason. Somebody, Fulani man, will be manipulating you. And then he said, we can always come, in 2027, we can always get. Why do you want us to be with you, for God's sake? Ask yourself this question, Biafrans. When these people are playing these games, don't you reason that these people are just manipulating you? Every time they're telling you about the next election, because every election endorses Nigeria, common sense. Because when you cast a vote, you are saying, look at what happened in Anambra State. People are giving gala, and drink to vote. What kind of hunger is that? People say, oh, they keep you hungry. They keep you hungry and depraved, because hunger is a tool to make you sell your conscience. Be strong in that situation, because you are smarter. You should know what the strategy is. It is not about, hey, we're hungry, we need to eat. No, sometimes you need to fast. When they put you in hunger, you turn it to a fasting, and you turn it into a weapon to defeat them. Why didn't Anambra people sit at home? The day of election, nobody comes out. Yet you will see them coming out, we are going to vote. They will come to your community, gather the useless community leaders.
And if you allow yourselves to be deceived, things can only get worse. Fulani terrorists will take over your land. Time and time again, I have warned you on this very matter, but some of you never ever listened. Because in this life, what goes around comes around. If you support evil today because you're benefiting, eventually that evil will overwhelm you.
Whatever level it is,
People don't know what is coming with them. They have no idea. I feel sorry for this. They have no idea. Any day that all of you gang up to support your one Nigeria garbage, the more you're digging your collective graves. Nigeria can never ever be fixed. It's broken beyond repair. Can never be fixed.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has said this thing several times. You keep still allowing yourself to be manipulated by the Fulani, in spite of the fact that you know that everything he said has come to pass. Now, let me tell you something. If you don't know the level of deception going on, I think the story I gave you when I began this video should help you understand this. Look at a man, Awomolo. He's the lead prosecutor against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, an elderly man that I respect. I go to his office. He was handling our case. The money federal government is owing us, I and my father, and he was handling the case. In fact, he went to Federal Inland Revenue for our sake. I don't know what they discussed there. I don't know how they did that stuff. Till today, that money is still hanging. Over $400,000 being owed us, still hanging. Now, this same man talking about the Buhari's government, how Nigeria cannot be, cannot be remedied. Nigeria has been destroyed. Nigeria has been this. How injustice has destroyed the whole system. Not knowing that it is because he has not been appointed and given a role to make millions, maybe under Buhari's government. Because if he was working actively in Buhari's government, by the evidence of what we see now, because he's working under Tinubu's government, Tinubu's government, which is an extension of Buhari's government, and which have even worsened the situations for the common man. You can imagine the inflation rate from Goodluck Jonathan to Buhari, then from Buhari to Tinubu. Under Buhari, I think dollar was 400, 500. It came from 100 and something from Jonathan's government, straight into, I think, 180 or 70 in Jonathan's government. Suddenly it went, as soon as Buhari came in, it went to straight to 400 or so, 500, then later dropped and then increased a lot. And now, in Tinubu's regime, within a year, you had dollar become 1,005. A bag of rice is like the money that you would used to buy some cups of rice today could afford a bag of rice before. You see the suffering, and you as a Biafran, you are sitting there endorsing Nigeria. Don't you know when it is time to quit? Don't you know when it is time to quit? Don't you know when you should tell yourself enough of the nonsense? What are you getting in Nigeria that would make you take nonsense and eat? We are not cowards. Biafrans are not cowards. When did you become a coward? Are you a full-fledged Biafran? Is the blood of the Biafra ancestors running in your veins that you could take nonsense in spite of what you are seeing? And evidence is that Nigeria does not belong to us. You can still sit down to endorse Nigeria. I see some Igbos, I don't know whether they are real, because social media can be deceptive. You see so many names on X, for instance. and they are castigating Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, endorsing a government that is talking to terrorists who even came to that discussion with their weapons, well armed, and they gave them microphones to talk to you, and not here or not fear, whatever we call it, whatever part of the dialect of Igbo that I'm going to use. And you are still beating your chest saying they should kill Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and a terrorist is talking to you with a microphone and you are doing nothing about it. And you say that Nigeria belongs to you. You are an idiot. You are an idiot. So you think Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is your problem? You don't know that you are your own problem? You are your own problem. You are just digging your grave, as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, as you heard in that video. You are digging your own grave. How can any true Biafran say he is very insultive? And so, are you telling me that you prefer the killing, the butchering, the slaughtering of human beings to somebody insulting you to get sense? Are we living in a normal society? You don't know that sometimes you need that insult to reset your brain? What is the insult, by the way? Call you a zoo animals. Is that an insult? Or you don't know that what we are saying there is a zoic program or project? Is it not a clear zoic project? Let me put it that way, if I have to coin it that way. And somebody will say that he is so insultive, let him be in jail. And you are campaigning for the sustenance of the people coming to your land to kill you, because they have not come to you. Every one of you who have talked against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or who think because the Fulanis have not come to your land, you can talk against the truth. I bet you must taste the sword of the Fulanis. See the middle belt. We're not endorsing what is happening, but you saw what they did against Biafrans in 1967 and all, even before then. And you see what is happening to them now. It pains us, but you can't stop karma. You can't stop the repercussion. Every one of you who think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is just ordinary, you just talk and castigate him and let him be jailed, and you think you're going to go free because you are making some little monies from the government of Nigeria. You are a joker. All of you are jokers. Because that Fulani sword must come to your household. It's not a curse, it is determined. It will come to your household. Is it not time for us to know that we don't belong in Nigeria? Or how else do we say this thing, for God's sake? How else? And I will call us, I will say, talk to our people. Let's come together on a true platform. Listen to me. IPOB, yes, is controlled by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He's the leader of IPOB. IPOB have been designated as a terrorist group in Nigeria. IPOB is never a terrorist group. But let me tell you, the behavior of some of them who are on the DOS and some members is making it difficult for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to defend himself. In the sense of talking about defending, I'm not saying he should go to court and defend himself, but it is giving the Nigeria government the opportunity to justify their indictment against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the conviction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which does not hold any waters in law. But yet, now, some of them there were part of selling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They are not the owners of IPOB. IPOB is the indigenous people of Biafra. Under the indigenous people of Biafra, we can still come together. As much as we're indigenous people of Biafra, we can still come together to form another front, still under IPOB, under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to pursue our cause. Because as indigenous people of Biafra, there are two things. It's one, as an organization; two, as a nation. If they think that they have been, proscribed the organization IPOB, they cannot prescribe the nation IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra. So we can, as IPOB nation, come together to devise another strategy for us to be truly free. You are not a Nigerian. You should understand this. Nigeria is a product for the killing of your children and the destruction of your life. You should know this. And the moment you know this, your true freedom and liberation begins. If you are a Biafran, wherever you are, I am talking out of, I mean, I don't need to go very technical in discussion. I'm making my language very simple to you now to understand. That if at this point you don't understand that it is time to be freed, then you are either a moron. If those of you who are talking about insult, you have not seen insult yet, because sometimes we need to insult you very well. Either a moron, or you are so ignorant, or you are cursed, or you are under a spiritual demonic Fulanic influence. For you to allow yourself to be manipulated by Fulanis, they will come and throw election in your face. Hey, it's okay, Peter Obi will go and represent us. You are busy. Peter Obi is there working. As long as he's endorsing Nigeria, he is not there for your good. No matter how you think he's a good man, the time of election, he will go to Chatham House, Britain. In Britain there. He'll go to Chatham House. It is from there he'll get his orders. In case you win, this is what you have to do. And you will be there voting for him, and he will be carrying out the program of the Fulanis or the British. Can we allow ourselves to be cajoled by Fulanis? People, can you compare who you are to a Fulani? That you would allow a Fulani to talk you into remaining in a contraption created by Britain because they are in control, because they want you to remain so that they can be pushed forward to take over your land. Don't you reason? From Sokoto, they have now pushed and pushed and pushed the Nkwara. They're already getting into Ekiti, Ogbomoso very soon, to Ibadan and all of that, to Lagos, and then they're coming eastward. Kogi, they have devastated Benue. They will get into Kogi. They have already devastated Benue. They're entering through Ebonyi and all those places. You think it's a joke? Or you think when we say these things, or when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was saying these things, don't you see them coming before your eyes? Where on earth can anybody be given life sentence or death sentence for because he was preaching liberation? Where? And you are there endorsing that system that is carrying out this glaring injustice, and you think you belong to that system. You don't know you are stupid. Do you know how they see you? Do you know how these Fulani see you? As low as their mentality is, because their religion has put them in a level of, I mean, it has destroyed their reasoning faculty. They see you as stupid, because if at your level of intelligence, which they believe that you are, of course they believe that will make them threatened, that Ahmadu Bello and his people could talk nonsense against Biafra and say they will put you under subjection. If they saw your intelligence at that point, and now they see you now helping them to sustain that narrative that is keeping you under them, then you should know that they know that now you are, no, I thought this, they will be saying that we thought these people are intelligent. That's what they will be saying. That's what they'll be saying. We have to change this thing. Time is now. Whatever group you belong to, whether you belong to whatever group, just keep doing. If we must fight it from every corner, and we must have a formidable front to fight this. All this disunity they are sponsoring in our midst, they'll create militias, give them one Igbo name, and then you'll begin to get divided. Some of you will support. I have a relative that was befriending one of these Ibubago guys who was shot and killed. The guy was killed, and she told me how she cried and all of that, and I was looking at her as stupid. You are befriending someone who is recruited by the government against yourself, and he was killed, and now you are crying. Some of them are ignorant. They talk out of ignorance. Some of these are out of ignorance. That's why we have to start educating our people to understand this. It is not any group that is created and have an Igbo name that is actually for the people. We must understand this. That is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the most trusted leader, because we have been able to prove without doubt that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is for the people. Let's rise up now. It is time to change plan. It is time to... Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot go to jail, for God's sake, no. No. That is an insult on you and I if you don't know. And now they want to keep pushing the whole thing. They will go to Supreme Court, they will go to Appeal Court, then to Supreme Court, and we'll keep fighting. And then before the next election, the president of Nigeria will now come out and say, okay, I want to pardon him. Just to get, and you foolishly will now say, oh, thank God they have pardoned him, so let's vote for the next president in Nigeria. Keep you, they are manipulating you, making you pushing you to the place of stupidity. And now your stupidity is so glaring that they determine your action every moment. Can't you stand for no Nigeria? Nigeria is not ours. Can't you stand for it no matter come rain, come shine? How can you go and start voting in a contraption that you know is designed to kill you? Do you know how many Fulani militias that are in invaders from other nations that are in the contraption? Working every day, they rehearse. As you wake up every morning, you are going to feed your children, looking for money to feed them and take them to school and all of that. These ones wake up every morning, the money is there, the money, the resources that belong to Biafra, from Biafra land and from the north too. They are using the resources to fund them. So their job is not to look for money. They are already having the money in the account, going to the accounts regularly. Their job is to wake up every morning, prepare, rehearse, strategize, target, know how to aim and all of that to kill you. Learn how to drive the bike and manipulate and go into bush path and all of that. They are practicing every day to kill you. That is what they do every day. And you are still endorsing that system that is keeping them, that is giving them the enablement to come into your land. You don't know that Nigeria is the system that enables them. How? Because if you have your nation, Biafra nation, you are going to have a border. How will they enter? If you have Oduduwa nation, how will they enter? You have a border. But in Nigeria, you don't have a border. Anybody could, if I want to go to the north, I can just go. The only thing you meet is checkpoint. If you have your own nation, you have a border. Just like when you want to go into Benin Republic, even if they are the same Yoruba. You see how they check you at the border. They stop your vehicle. All of you will come down. You go into their offices. They ask you the questions. They check your passport. They check everything before you enter into the same community of people. Common sense. I'll talk to you guys later, please. We need to. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. See you next time.